one record-shattering vote total, one audacious live trade, and an entire league suddenly spinning around a 23-year-old guard from Indiana. Caitlin Clark just transformed what should have been a routine WNBA All-Star draft into headline gold. Still rehabbing a groin strain, Clark closed her Zoom PT session, strolled into ESPN's Uptown studio, and promptly melted the fan vote server before bending the rulebook in real time. How did one second-year captain pull off the biggest flex in All-Star history? And what does it signal for the season ahead? Stick around, because this draft was only the ignition switch on a seismic power shift the league's never seen. While trainers iced her groin and hot take shows wondered if she'd even suit up before July, Clark's fan base waged a digital blitzkrieg. 1,293,526 ballots hammered her name, more than the entire top 30 vote getters combined in 2023. The previous record, A'ja Wilson's 95K. Clark multiplied that by 13. The frenzy spilled far beyond hoops Twitter. Families filmed TikToks of toddlers tapping Clark in the WNBA app. Elementary teachers slipped how to vote All-Star slides into morning meetings. Late night hosts riffed about CAPTCHA codes seizing up under Midwestern IP addresses. Over 4 furious weeks, the Fever's marketing staff watched their social impressions balloon by 610%. Meanwhile, ESPN's back-end engineers quadrupled server capacity after a single 24-hour spike threatened to crash the player tracker database. Numbers this lopsided didn't just make history, they rewired perception. Local TV stations that once led sports blocks with high school baseball now opened with Clark graphics. Regional rights holders fought for Fever replays they'd politely passed on a year ago. In one Manhattan boardroom, a sneaker executive murmured, "We might need a women's signature line yesterday." Clark's popularity had leapt from highlight curiosity to bona fide economic force, and every ballot carried the same subtext: bring her back. The league's dull without her. Absence can roast a legend or forge one. Clark's brief groin layoff tipped toward the latter. The day she limped to the IR, Fever ticket resale prices flatlined. Regional household ratings sagged 18%. By week 2 of her absence, the hashtag #GetCC_Back outtrended MLB highlights. Fans realized they didn't just enjoy Clark, they relied on her for nightly adrenaline. So the voting portal morphed into a protest sign. Every click screamed, "Erase the bench minutes, return the soundtrack of Logo 3s. By the time Clark re-emerged on ESPN, fresh braids, neon white sneakers, rehab brace peeking from ripped jeans, hosts greeted her like a prizefighter freed from bogus suspension. But behind that grin loomed real stakes. Those 1.29 million ballots weren't slacktivist likes. They were pledges. Clark understood the exchange. Deliver fireworks in Indianapolis or watch a million thumbs turn restless. Gainbridge Fieldhouse would morph into a living poll tracker. Every time she rose off a screen, the roar itself would measure satisfaction. One misstep, one cold quarter, and the narrative could ice bath overnight. Still, anyone who's followed Clark since her Iowa days knows pressure's her preferred oxygen. She'd parlay those votes into leverage soon enough, starting with the very first pick of the draft. The camera cut to Clark for pick number 1. She could have grabbed Breanna Stewart, set social on fire, and scored brownie points with New York's media machine. She could have sniped Brittany Griner, dropped a trending topic bomb, and called it a day. Instead came the curveball. I'm going with my teammate Aaliyah Boston. Boom. Fever family first. Boston had eaten elbows, switched on to Giants, and taken the post-game podium beside Clark through every rookie growing pain. Reward? Top slot on national television. Analysts murmured about loyalty. Boston laughed. Knew she had my back. The pick showcased Clark's first guiding principle: chemistry trumps clout. Then came targeted upgrades. Satu Sabali, a 6'4" Swiss Army wing for mismatch nightmares. Sabrina Ionescu, triple logo range stretching any zone to the Hudson. Jackie Young, perimeter clamps with 50-40-90 chops for dessert. And just when the broadcast crew thought they had Clark's algorithm solved, she dropped the jaw-dropped stunner, A'ja Wilson. The same MVP who'd shredded fever rotations all spring? Yes. Rivalry holstered for one night, winning unlocked exclusively. Twitter lost it. Cece and A'ja on the same team equals the basketball Thanos snap, one meme read. By closing round one, Clark's board looked less like random all-star bingo and more like a pace and space war machine. Boston setting brutal screens, Wilson eviscerating the mid-post, Sabrina orbiting deep, and Clark controlling the tempo joystick. Host LaChina Robinson shuffled cue cards, prepping the next pick. Clark leaned into her mic and detonated precedent. I don't know if this is in the rules, I don't really care, Fee, let's swap coaches. Gasps, Collier's eyebrow climbed halfway to the Zoom border before a grin broke through. Within seconds, ESPN's control room sounded like NORAD at DEF CON 2. The proposal? Cheryl Reeve, four-time WNBA champion, Minnesota mastermind, and the coach who'd left Clark off the Olympic roster after chirping about media distraction, would switch benches with Sandy Brondello, architect of New York's pace and bomb attack. Slack channels pinged, lawyers skimmed bylaws, a senior VP triple-checked her phone for signal. 90 seconds later, a lower third sizzled across screens. Coach trade approved. Basketball Twitter detonated. Never in the 28-year WNBA history, nor its NBA counterpart, had a player captain engineered a live coaching trade in the middle of a televised draft. Clark hadn't just drafted talent, she'd redrawn the dugout lines. Reeves' history of public side-eye toward Clark now served Collier. Brondello's crisp spacing gospel shifted to Team Clark. The subtext couldn't be missed. You doubted me on Team USA? Watch the All-Star scoreboard. Collier laughed. Bad move, CC. Now we've got built-in chemistry. Clark shrugged. We've got Indy's decibel record on standby. Just like that, the All-Star narrative shifted from roster gossip to a head coach revenge arc worthy of HBO. Even as ESPN rolled celebratory B-roll, a separate storyline lurked. An anonymous player poll hit social ranking W guards. Clark, 9th. Behind Alicia Gray, behind Paige Beckers, yet to log a pro minute, behind rookies still in media day selfies. Talk shows seized the contradiction. A million-vote superstar relegated to single-digit respect tiers by her peers. Ex-players chalked it up to veteran pecking order. Rookies gotta earn stripes. Others smelled jealousy. Some can't stomach the spotlight she drags. A third camp leaned political. Media attention equals contract leverage. Dimming her wattage protects everyone else's pay tier. Publicly, Clark laughed it off. I'm just hoopin'. Privately, sources say she screenshot the list, circled number 9, and set it as phone wallpaper. An old Iowa staffer told The Athletic, Caitlin's the nicest scoreboard assassin you'll ever meet. She files slights like secret playlists. Fans noticed too. Threads lit up. How do you rank the league's leading jersey seller 9th? Overnight, not my top 9 trended. The chasm between mass love and locker room appraisal widened, a narrative dagger poised to plunge the second Clark stumbled. But she planned the opposite. Turn each assist, each logo triple into unsaid rebuttal. Nafisa Collier, a perennial all-star armed with playoff scars, countered Clark's flash with familiarity. Brianna Stewart, two-time MVP, UConn sister, chemistry on autopilot. Arike Ogunbowale, the league's purest ISO bucket since peak Cappy Pondexter. Alicia Gray, player's #1 ranked guard, two-way menace itching to validate peer respect. Toss in Reeves' discipline, and Collier's thesis wrote itself. Execution beats fireworks. During media debrief, Fee quipped, "We'll let Clark's team dunk for social. Our team's gunning for the W." Stewart clipped back, "Guess our locker room finally has the Olympic coach." Clark grinned on the adjoining Zoom. Bring earplugs, indie crowds ready. The duel framed itself as vibes versus synergy, decibels versus details, and if sports history loves anything, it's style clashes with trophies on the line. Indianapolis summers normally belong to minor league baseball and the odd country music tour. Not this July. All-Star night, the resale market hovered around NBA conference final numbers. Corn Belt dads sported custom CC captain tees. High schoolers brandished LED signs flashing hashtag CC record breaker. Local vendors sold Hoosier logo range lemonade. Inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, a playable roar simmered through warm-ups. Tamika Catchings, emceeing halftime, joked, "I thought this was neutral. Guess not." Sports science mics clocked decibel spikes matching a Colts playoff drive. Clark's game plan glimmered on the whiteboard. Run till they wheeze. Brondello's playbook exploited Boston's horn sets, Wilson's short roll reads, Sabrina's orbit cuts. Possessions aimed to unfold like 12-second TikToks. Grab, outlet, either side drag screen, pull in three, bury a triple before Collinsworth could blink. Collier counter-prepped with a playoff grind. Feed Stewie on the nail, turn Enrique loose only on mismatch hunts, stall tempo until fan fervor lulled into grumbles. Alicia Gray drew the Clark assignment, vowing, "No heat checks on my watch." The tactical tug-of-war promised a masterclass in momentum. Indy's hype engine versus Minnesota minted pragmatism. Coach trade approved, check. Ballot tsunami quantified, check. Now, the implications. Next year's CBA negotiations loom heavy. Ownership groups are already circulating decks citing Clark-driven audience spikes, regional RSN gains, national streaming lifts, sponsor renewals accelerated 6 months ahead of schedule. When the bargaining table forms, union reps will be pressed. Does your million-vote star advocate charter flights, revenue share, maternity protections? If Clark's not in the room, owners will weaponize her absence. If she is, expect her to leverage that magnetic fandom into tangible improvements. Meanwhile, Madison Ave drools. Every marketing model pivoted after the vote stats. Beverage conglomerate wants her in a global energy drink spot. A streaming giant floats reality doc angles. Rumors swirl that Nike and Under Armour both want the first women's hoop sig shoe since Taurasi's mid-2000s run. And remember the live coach trade? That signaled to execs and networks alike, Clark can tilt broadcast structure in real time. If she can rearrange benches mid-telecast, why not negotiate prime slots, alternate camera streams, even revenue cuts for players who move the needle? The All-Star draft didn't merely entertain, it beta-tested superstar governance in women's sports. From vaporizing the voting ledger to orchestrating the first coach trade in All-Star lore, Caitlin Clark didn't just headline a draft, she detonated expectation. Tonight, she'll lace up under her own rafters, 1 million+ voices at her back, a locker room of skeptics in her periphery, and a clipboard-wielding coaching change stamped with her signature swagger. If she dazzles, the narrative tilts permanently. Record breaker, rule bender, era definer. If she stumbles, critics will resurface that number 9 ranking. Either way, the W will never stage another All-Star weekend without remembering the night a captain rewrote protocol on live television. So buckle tight, because when the ball tips, it won't just be Team Clark versus Team Collier, it'll be proof of how far one player's magnetic pull can drag a sport into new orbit. And this drama cord storyline, only at halftime. If you're ready for Clark's next barrier smash, records, rivals, rulebooks, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and join the front row. The CC era isn't waiting for anyone.